Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at another Compassbox, Dustin. This time, the Menagerie Scotch Whiskey, 46% ABV. Dustin, this bottle feels great. They used a nice paper on it.
That is a really high quality paper.
Wow. Compassbox is known for beautiful bottles. Now known for beautiful paper. All right, Dustin, this is a mix, and I'm going to let you read because I can't see for shit anymore.
Not a problem.
But like always, with Compassbox, this is an interesting blend. We are huge fans. This is 2021.
Beginning of 21, back with John Glazier. In my collection for all that time, as you can tell from the bottle. So,
beautiful label.
Gorgeous label, you're right. And it's got paper. You kind of talk about the Laphroaig 25, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Very similar thickness to the
Yes.
Laphroaig 25.
So,
if anyone's ever seen the movie American Psycho and the business card back, look at the subtle thickness of it. What is that? A watermark.
But for those of you guys interested, this is 42.6% Mortlach. It's 17.1 Deanston. It's 16.8 their Highland Blend. And then 18.1 Glen Elgin. And finally, 5.4% Laphroaig, one of 7,741 bottles. While this does have John Glazier's signature on here, this was from James Saxon, who I don't think he's still with them, but definitely from old school back when they really did some cool stuff. I don't remember the ages, Mike, but I remember this one having some good ages, but not being mind-blowing to me.
Laphroaig, Glen Elgin, Laphroaig, Isla. Glen Elgin, they had some great sherried whiskeys from there. Deanston, fan. Mortlach, fan. And, of course, their Highland Malt. Man, there is a lot of players. Very reminiscent of the name, the Menagerie.
Yeah, you know, when I start listening to those distilleries, I am expecting, I mean, again, Mortlach is known for being hearty, meaty, the beast. Then, you know, you've got Deanston, which is funky, aggressive. You got Laphroaig. I mean, Glen Elgin's not super aggressive. It's more dainty. And the Highland Malt is always finished in French oak.
Well,
spicy.
Depending on if the Glen Elgin was sherry cask maturation.
Well, the Glen Elgin was recharred barrels and refilled sherry seasoned butts.
That's his wheelhouse.
So, yeah, big butts.
Because I tell you what, the second I smell it, I'm picking up Glen Elgin heavily sherried whiskey.
There is a bit of sherry note here. In fact, were there any other ones with sherry? That is surprising. Okay, so the Deanston also uses sherry, which you know we enjoy some sherry from Deanston. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, and then we just say recharred hogsheads on a lot of stuff here, so...
Dustin? I'm getting that Deanston funkiness.
I'm getting a little bit of Mortlach meat.
I'm getting a little bit of that Mortlach brisket. Unsalted brisket. I'm definitely getting some of that Glen Elgin sherried whiskey. You know...
Not getting a lot of peat here, but a little bit of
no Laphroaig yet.
funk.
No Laphroaig. I'm getting Deanston funk, no Laphroaig.
I get a little lemon lime. A little bit of wet.
Right there.
A little bit of wet moss, wet stone maybe.
Yep, a little bit of stone.
That's definitely a Laphroaig note.
Probably.
I'm not getting a lot of spice. I was kind of expecting, I assume we're talking about the Highland Malt, and yep, heavy toasted, French oak. I'm not getting a lot of the French oak toast yet.
A lot of spice with that French oak.
Yeah.
And heavily charred French oak. Is that what I
Yeah,
think
heavily charred French oak.
Wow. Good name.
Fruity Pebbles is coming in here now.
Good name. It is a menagerie.
It really is.
Wow. So there's some goats. There's some birds.
I'm just kind of getting an overall like nice oak note. Maybe that's the toasted oak coming through. Just clean.
This is fun for someone who likes to dig into whiskey because there's so many different flavors here.
The Dr. Pepper. Mind you, smelling nothing like Dr. Pepper, but more at least 23 flavors here.
Wow. I mean,
there's a citrus fruit thing going on with the smoked meats and
3 of these distilleries are very well represented here.
now there's a slightly sour, funky Deanston note. God. I don't know if I'm getting like peat smoke or like oak smoke. There's a little smokiness coming through, but subtle.
Now, a twinge of waxiness. I don't know where that would come from.
Glen Elgin can give you a little bit of waxiness.
A little crayon?
Yeah, I can get that from Glen Elgin occasionally. Mortlach can do it a little bit too.
There's a thickness to it. Here we go along with the Beast of Dufftown.
It's just thick. Definitely has. These were some good sherry casks used. I mean, they're saying refilled here, but these are quality casks. Nothing cheap coming off here. Nothing mind blowing here, but very much a lot of cool stuff going on.
I like the sum of its parts, but it's more than the sum of its parts. Wow, that's just beautiful mouthfeel. Wow, great mouthfeel. Love that texture.
The French oak spice is definitely part of that. Big time here.
Vanilla oak, spice. There's meatiness to it. It's waxy, thick, viscous, beeswaxy.
Man, spice never lets up.
Twinge of sherry, twinge of milk chocolate, honey, hay.
Big time on the honey.
My goodness, there's a lot going on here. Well named.
Touches of lemon, lime, and raspberry.
Lemon for sure. Raspberry. Good note. I wouldn't have noticed that.
Yeah.
Wow, good. A lot going on. Usually, I mean, you can mix a bunch of stuff together and it's just a mess.
Yeah. And this got very close. This got very close to being a mess. It didn't. Like whoever put this together wanted it to like really be disjointed and yet work.
I tell you what, you could just have a base background with scotches, and you could just enjoy this for the oak and the spice and the layered palate with texture. You don't have to be someone who digs into it to appreciate it, but it's like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Keep going back to it, you're going to find more nuance.
Yes, definitely. And that's one thing, like, when I first got this, Mike, I was not super impressed. It's improved, obviously, sitting in the bottle and opening up. But my first kind of impression was, that French oak thing kind of overpowered it. And I was hoping for more Laphroaig, and I was hoping for, like, a little bit more meatiness.
There's no Laphroaig in this.
I think it's adding some of the lemon lime. That's it.
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. It probably is.
But, yeah, it's...
The Dr. Pepper meets 7-Up.
But the nice thing here is it's just really well put together in a way that, like, again, if he put 3% more of one or the other, he may have been able to screw this up.
The thickness of this paper is beautiful. The illustration is beautiful.
Yeah,
but combined
bottle's amazing.
Combined on with as beautiful as the texture and mouthfeel in this whiskey.
That's a good point, Mike. The mouthfeel here is actually very good for 46. I didn't mention that.
That's right. This is 46.
Yeah, it really drinks a little bit. In terms of oiliness and richness, it does come off higher. And that's the use of Mortlach and Deanston. I mean, those are really good malts.
Beefier malts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
man, Dustin, this is good whiskey. I mean, this wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but was this one of the super well thought of Compass boxes? I didn't think so.
This one didn't get a ton of hype. People liked it, but it was just kind of, I think Stranger and Stranger came out around this time. Phenomenology came out, which I think got a little bit more hype.
There's some easy things to miss here, as far as its complexity.
I think, we really are bringing people this at its best here as it's being, finished off. I definitely think it's improved.
We've ordered it?
No, we haven't. Yeah, no, it's definitely improved. I think it's become better because the good parts are really shining more with time. The quality of those sherry casks have come up, and they really are putting their stamp on it. I will say I do wish it had a little less of that French oak spice. It's my one kind of noticeable criticism on this one. It comes in on
it's just more complexity.
The problem for me was it came on so aggressive to start, and it just stayed through the entire experience.
Well,
I wanted it to either come or go,
You're not going to like it with water. Because it came. That's the biggest initial difference I can smell with water is the French oak. The spiciness from the French oak. Tell me I'm wrong.
Don't disagree, but that's it. Again, my issue was on the palate, not on the nose. The nose is fine with the French oak.
Forgive me. But it's amplified.
Yeah, no, a little bit more. I get a little bit more of the sherry. The kind of the dark fruits, a little amped up here. Nice stuff all around. It's tasty.
I'm spilling all over the place tonight, Dustin. Making a mess.
Ooh. Well, the spice came down a little bit with the water, actually. Came up more on the finish, but not on the arrival. That's what I wanted, actually, was just a little bit more interplay. Yep, red fruits are here. And when I say red fruits, I really mean the kind of raisin plum notes with some chocolate. But there is, again, like a little bit of apple spice. So some lighter fruits, some lime notes coming through.
I like your cinnamon apple spice thought.
Yeah, definitely some cinnamon.
I added cinnamon to it, but yeah, I agree with you. This is much better, neat. In my opinion, I got a couple more flavors out of it, but this was perfect, neat.
It thinned it a touch, and that kind of ruined it for me. So I agree. I like it better neat. Although I like the. It has some transitions with water, so it's like
Limited edition. It's my favorite phrase.
Everything Compassbox does is limited edition.
Everything in existence is limited, Dustin. Even the stars in the sky. All right, whiskey score time, Dustin. Your bottle. I'll go first. I'm continuing with this strong day of scoring things 89.
Wow.
Beautiful whiskey. Probably a point higher, but I love the complexity in this. Mm-hmm. This is for someone who likes to pick apart whiskey. Something that should be high on their list, and for 46% ABV, didn't show until you added water.
I am 87 here on this one, Mike. Solid, strong whiskey. I think it's worth. I paid about 150, I think, for it.
Blast.
I think that's exactly what it's worth. Quite good. I could be convinced into an 88, but I'm going with 87. That's where I was at. Really enjoy it, but it's just, again, that French oak note kind of plays too big a role on the palate. Nose is fun. Do think they had really good sherry casks, but it's an 87. It's well done, well put together whiskey, but it doesn't have the wow. Push this one to 50%. It might go up pretty significantly for me, though.
Is it boar and a blue star?
I tell you what, that is a gorgeous label. It really is.
Feels as good as it looks.
Yeah, that's one of those I don't want to be the guy collecting bottles of like empty bottles of whiskey, but it's like, man, that's a hard one to throw away. It's so nice.
It is, Dustin. Anyway, those are lots of this particular whiskey. You guys had a chance to try this one. Let me know what you guys think, Dustin. Until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy menagerie drinking.
See you next time.